Our world lead Iranian state media is repeating and notably not challenging the claim by ISIS that ISIS, were responsible for Wednesday's deadly terrorist attack in Iran. State media, which is under the control of Iran's supreme leader, is sharing ISIS's statement on the twin blasts that killed 84 people, which is revised down from yesterday's number. Still, 84 is quite a massacre. The terrorist attack targeted mourners who were gathered to observe the fourth anniversary of the killing of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani in a U.S. airstrike ordered by President Trump. Nick Robertson's in Tel Aviv, and CNN's Alex Marquardt is here with me in D.C. And Nick, before ISIS claimed responsibility, accusations were flying. Iran publicly accused Israel. Now they're saying that ISIS did this because Israel commanded them to do so, which is a bizarre thing to say. But more importantly, we keep hearing the phrase fears of a wider war. Is this wider war essentially already happening?
Certainly the temperature that could lead towards it is there. I sat down and chatted today with the former military intelligence chief at the IDF, who was, by the way, the F-16 fighter pilot that dropped the bomb on Iraq's nuclear plant back in the 80s and then developed the military plan to take down Bashar al-Assad's nuclear power plant in 2007. This is a former Israeli official who knows a thing or two about regional tensions. He told me that right now, all the strikes that have taken place that Israel has been responsible for, those it has and hasn't claimed, and the United States have been responsible for, are below the threshold that they think Iran would have a response that would escalate. But I said to him, why so many strikes, so many of these red button hits for Iran so quickly?
Israel took the gloves off. You can see it in Gaza. You can see it with Hariri in Beirut. You can see it with the general in Damascus, even though nobody took responsibility, but the Iranians blamed Israel.
And the Iranians blame Israel as well for that attack at the grave at Soleimani.
That's nonsense. That's nonsense. It's not the way that Israel is operate. Israel is very precise, as you saw it in Beirut. Excellent intelligence, real-time intelligence.
So I think to your point earlier, Jake, that Iran is now saying, well, it was Israel that was behind ISIS. Kind of no surprise. The Iranian leadership there is obviously trying to save face because it already accused Israel, already said there would be a response. And if they hadn't have blamed Israel, they probably would have blamed the United States for creating ISIS, another counter-narrative that exists here in the Middle East.
Yeah, but obviously on its face, it's preposterous that ISIS would take orders from Israel. Alex, for just the second time in just over a week, the U.S. targeted Iranian-backed militants in Iraq in retaliation for more than 100 recent attacks launched on U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria. This time it was a member of an Iranian proxy group with, quote, U.S. blood on his hands, according to a U.S. official. This comes as U.S. Secretary of State Blinken is setting out on a big Middle East trip.
Yeah, 115 attacks against U.S. and coalition forces in Iraq and Syria since October 17th. And this fear of a wider regional war is going to be a major topic for Secretary Blinken as he goes back to the region for the fourth time since this war started. He's making 9 different stops. It's going to come up in conversations with world leaders from across the Arab world. We see these attacks in the Red Sea, the escalation with Hezbollah, and then of course the growing number of strikes and attacks in Iraq and Syria. And so the latest response by the U.S., which many have said is not enough in terms of making these attacks stop, was today the U.S. striking the leader of an Iranian-backed proxy group in the middle of Baghdad. He and his assistant were killed in a car. Very remarkable that it took place in the Iraqi capital. The Iraqis are furious, talking about a violation of sovereignty. But this is certainly something that the U.S. says will continue as long as these attacks against U.S. forces go on. But of course, Jake, the centerpiece of this trip is going to be Blinken's stop in Israel, where he's expected to pressure the Israelis to do more when it comes to civilian casualties in Gaza, when it comes to getting more aid into Gaza. He's obviously going to be talking about hostages, but there is a real sense of pressure from the White House that they want the Israelis to transition from that high-intensity phase that we've been seeing for the past few months to a lower-intensity phase in which fewer civilians would be hurt and killed.
All right, and quickly, Nick, not only is the Middle East on edge, Russia's war on Ukraine is nearing its second year, and now Russia appears to be in active negotiations with Iran to buy ballistic missiles as Russia steps up its attacks on Ukraine. Tell us more about this Russia-Iran defense partnership.
Yeah, look, it's been blossoming since they started buying those Shahed drones that they fire every day at Ukraine, and that's something that we've just seen really escalate the war, escalate the misery of the Ukrainian people. And Iran has a level of expertise with these ballistic missiles. They've been giving them to the Houthis, who've been firing them at Israel. They've fired them into Saudi Arabia. These are very, very dangerous and well-tried and tested missiles. This will further add to the suffering in Ukraine.
All right, CNN's Nick Robertson in Israel and Alex Marquardt here in studio with me. Thank you so much. In